I kind of want to go a little bit more into when you said you was humbled, I think around 2016. Like what kind of set you like, oh, this ain't it? Like what really opened your eyes to that?
So really, I had the humbling process started my freshman year of college, which was
Okay.
2013. And I mean, I was on academic probation. I it was
Hey,
just
speak on it.
it was a it was one, I'm not a good academic student as is, but it was really bad then because I was trying to, strive into the raw school of business so that I could
Hmm.
execute my plan for my life. Like that's what I wanted to do. And it was just like I was like, no, like that's not what I'm having for you to do. And I remember
Wow.
having like mentors who worked in the raw school of business who used to coach me through it, and they would be like, you don't need Ross. And I just hated hearing that from them. Like I hated it.
Hmm. Yeah.
And cool full story moment is that like a few years later, I ended up actually speaking at the Raw School of Business like twice. And it was just like a crazy moment of like me, so much of my worth at the time as a freshman was in me getting accepted into the Raw School of Business and,
Yeah.
achieving the goals I had set for myself. And it's like, dang, like now you're speaking here about your
Yeah.
entrepreneurial journey and you didn't have to go through Ross to get it. It was just like a very like, wow, that's crazy type moment. But it was just a lot going on my freshman year. A lot of things in my personal life,
Hmm.
were just off the chain. And on top of the fact that I was on academic probation, I was dealing with crazy depression. That was the first time I had experienced depression to that extent.
Hmm.
And I knew a lot of it was tied to me not living in alignment with what I was actually created to do. And God was like, all right, I'm gonna get your attention one way or another. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
what you want to do, like,
Nah, I feel that. No, I think that's one thing I've just noticed as a whole, just with you telling that story, with me, some things I've been through, and just knowing people. I feel like we sometimes might know we want to change, right? But it takes this force of like, oh snap, like academic probation. Oh, something happened. There's some trauma to really change. So I think I'm glad that it kind of happened. Not glad you were on academic probation, but I
right.
can tell that you kind of needed that to be where you are today, and to help the people that might relate to that. How did you come out from that academic probation? Like, how did you go about with sophomore, junior year, like, and make it through and actually graduate?
I hate giving academic advice because this is my advice, and it's not
Yeah.
good. It's not good. I mean, I literally, thankfully, over time, my parents were able to really let go of me being some sort of, studious student. I was able to get by in high school or whatever. But it got to
Yeah.
the point where I was like, look, C's get degrees and so do D's. Don't ask me about my GPA. Don't ask me about it because I don't
You just
care.
never
Like
said
I don't
it.
care. Like
Okay.
it was like once I had got to that place where I had a understanding that like, oh, like you're not using your degree after you get out of school. You're here for the people. God has assigned you to some people here and has assigned some people to you. Enjoy this experience. If I could redo it, I would not have even. I don't know if I would say I wouldn't have gone, but I wouldn't
Yeah.
have gone and taken out loans or anything like that. It would have been like, no, you gotta get some scholarships or something. But it was literally like, I'm going to do the bare minimum to pass and keep my sanity because I hate school.
Hmm.
And I engulfed myself in the fashion organization I was involved in because that was the one thing that actually gave me, some joy at school.
Yeah.
So it was like I was in a totally different I was in a totally different world. The mentorship, I developed the mentorship in one of my comms classes, like literally in the front row and did not care. It was like geeked, like sitting there like, ooh, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Like, and I didn't care. And it was like, look,
Yeah.
mama, daddy, I'm gonna graduate. Y'all have been helping me pay for school and I'm gonna respect that. But don't ask me about my GPA because I'm not even going.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that
No,
I
I
don't.
feel
That's why I
that.
don't have no good advice. Like, do what you got to do to get through school would be my advice.
Hmm.
If you know you're not
Yeah.
using your degree, do not stress about that GPA because nobody's going to ask you about it. Like once you
Yeah.
get out of there, it's completely irrelevant. I mean, unless you need your degree and you're going to be like a nurse or a doctor or a
Yeah.
lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
No,
all
but
I
that's
got
some
for
real
you.
stuff. That's some real stuff. I think. I mean, I don't think that's bad advice, to be honest with you, because even me going to school, I'm an engineer.
Mm,
Obviously you need some engineering things, but mechanical engineering and what I'm doing right now, I couldn't do one calculation you bring in my face right now because it's not related to what I'm doing on the daily, like actual job
Yeah.
description. So I think one thing that we're not taught about getting ready for college and even during college is like you have to be realistic about what are you actually trying to get out of college? Are you trying to get a job? Are you really trying to
Yeah.
pursue this venture? And then kind of like once you understand like, okay, this might suck, but let me get this degree so I can step into this door. So I think that's a very real I ain't gonna say the whole, don't go to school, but guys, just be
Right.
realistic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do
just
think that
understand.
like asking a child, because that's what you are, you're a child at 18. I don't care if you're
Yeah,
legal now or not or whatever, but you're a child and you don't have enough sense to really sit and process. You're taking out all of these loans
yeah,
and you're making a decision to study something that you're probably going to want to change out of because you haven't lived enough. You haven't lived
yeah.
enough to decide to invest 100K in this one field of study. Like, but
Yeah,
I digress.
and
That's a whole
they'll
nother
give you that hundred
conversation.
k quick. They'll be like, yeah, you can take this loan. We're gonna need it back though, but that's just another whole nother story.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's move away from school. So obviously,